Person 110, so your reading's title is called Know, Learning, or Learn, Knowings, and then they said Light and Love afterwards. So your energy manifests, and it was interesting because as I was saying, kind of something I say before as I'm connecting with your energy, I saw you fill up in these three parts. And so when your energy manifested onto the rainbow road, you became these three almost like magnets, like your legs were apart, your core of your body was apart, and like kind of like the top of your body was a part of this. And it's almost like these three magnets were being pulled apart. And so they look like little Rolo candies or something, just like stacked, or like stacked checkers, but a lot thicker. And so it was almost like these three parts of your body were being pulled apart, and then these circular objects would kind of like shake a little bit, and then they'd snap right back together like they were magnets being magnetized into each other. And so I kept seeing the three parts of your body, and it was definitely an outline or a representation of your body, and these three columns were stacking on top of each other, and then it's like a force came in and pulled it apart, and then it's like everything kind of shook and then snapped right back together. And so I'm not quite sure what this means, and this, this to me, a body like this, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's talking about the three triads, which are like the three components of like spirituality, and how the soul, and then they call it the Merkaba body, or the Merkaba light body, which is like the highest version of yourself, like basically the version of you that connects to the God and all that. Like that's kind of like the components I was getting here. And then I said, okay, well, maybe it's not the three triads going that deep into the existence here, but maybe it's just like the first triad, which is your physical, your emotional, and your mental body together. And it felt something very very spiritual, very like parts of you being kind of compartmentalized, like, and there's this force that was pulling it apart, but just desperately it would always snap back together, and there was always this magnetism to bring it back together. So I'm not sure if there's question in spirituality, or if people have questioned you, or if there's some kind of opposing force on you that consistently tries to pull something that is divinely kind of you, or this pillar that is you that kind of tries to pull it apart, but you always snap back together. So from here, then I see, I don't know why, and it came in really quick, maybe it'll get answered later, but I get the kid who, from the Christmas story, the you'll shoot your eye out kid. So I get this version of him in that big pink bunny suit, and it's just like he hops and then like basically kind of like, I don't know, dematerializes. Like he takes one hop, and then it's almost like he falls forward, and just kind of as he's falling forward, it's like he dematerializes, but he keeps doing this, like this one hop, and then like as he's falling forward, almost in like from a clock face, from the 12 to the 6, I watch it go from like a very clear colored picture to like almost disappearing as it falls down towards the 6. I don't know, it was really weird. And I don't know if it connects to you in any way, shape, or form. But then the next component I get is I see you now walking, and I see you trick-or-treating. And I don't know if it's Halloween or not, but I see this like cookie cutter row of houses. And I see you on the left side, but I know there's a right side too. And I see these houses, and you're almost like the little Eddie Munster, who kind of looks like a little kid Dracula. That's kind of what you look like. And you have this like spirit with you, and it's almost like a Casper, but it's more human shaped than a ghost, but it has that translucent look to it. And you go walking to every house, and like as you get to the house, they shut their door, turn off their lights, and throw the blinds down, type of a thing. There's like 10 houses in a row, and you keep going up to every house, and as you get to the very end of the street, your ghost, your apparition, whoever has been talking to you, basically says, "It's okay, honey. They fear what they don't know." And it's like this, almost like I get an imaginary friend, I get like a fifth dimensional being, I get maybe a guide, I don't know. I don't know if you see clearly, I'm not sure, but I get that there's this presence with you as this child that's out trick-or-treating, and it's basically saying, don't worry, people fear what they don't know, they don't understand, don't worry, they'll learn, they'll understand, one day they'll get it. And it's like they're giving you this really in-depth kind of pep talk about, the psychology of these people. And so you're just like, okay, you're like really trusting, and everything feels benevolent and like really good between the two of you. And then you like turn down the other side and you're like, let's try again. And so you like walk down the other side of houses, and everybody kind of slams their door on you the same. And I see you run off to what could be considered like the Boo Radley house, like the really kind of creepy house on the street. And so I see you kind of run off to that, and I'm getting this like overwhelming feeling of maybe you weren't accepted. I'm not sure what component of this might be connecting for you, but the energy I'm feeling is there's this fear. I almost get like it could be there's an like the kids being mean type of a thing, where they're mean they single out one kid and put them down just because they're not like the other kids. And I don't, I'm getting this Halloween and this ghost connection, so I'm not sure, if it was like talking to yourself. I'm not sure if it even pertains back to childhood or if it's trying to give a understanding of what's going on in adulthood. I'm not really sure here. Still a bit confusing. So from here, you now move inside the house, and I see you. It's this dark, old, dingy kind of house, and I see you like flop down in a chair. And as soon as you flop down in the chair, you turn into this rhinoceros. And this rhinoceros, I've seen from like what's the Kung Fu Panda movies. And so I didn't get it until a little bit later. So then I see these witches around a cauldron, right? And so they're like stirring and they're chanting this like something by 3. I don't know. They keep repeating it. I don't think it's that important, but they're doing this. And then all of a sudden your energy as this rhinoceros like turns into this almost this like mist, this wall of kind of energy, and you start circling around these witches, and the witches are like doing their thing. And I think that you're representative as this rhinoceros because of this protective energy, and I'm still getting that there's this kid tie and there's this protection. So now I'm starting to pull it in together, and I think I understand the symbology of what's coming through, and I'm getting that there maybe, and from like going down the houses trick-or-treating and being kind of shunned by adults and neighbors, even though you're this like innocent kind of child, I'm getting maybe that you had to bear the burden of like parental figures, or somebody that you were connected to as like that parent figure. I don't know if there was something that maybe your parents or whoever that guardian figure was judged because of something, and so I'm getting that as a kid you had to also take on that very adult energy of being kind of shunned by others who knew. It almost feels like a town secret, or I don't know, it feels like something kind of that you just got lumped into this energy, and being this innocent kind of child, you had to deal and bear this burden, this heaviness that you shouldn't have. And I get that you were, as that rhinoceros circling, the witches around the cauldron, I'm getting that kind of witch around the cauldron was like the parents or whatever that secret kind of practice, was. And you being this child, you were trying to, unknowingly, you were trying to protect or shield energy. You were trying, and maybe that's a hiding, but I almost get rhinoceros more as like this protector, or this like this strong force type of a thing. So then I see, so this kind of stops as I make this connection, and then I see you now leaving the house, and I see you as more of like a young adult, and I see you with like a backpack on, like you're getting ready to go out into the world yourself, and I see you walking down the road now of those houses towards like the sunset, right? And so then I see your body again compartmentalized into these 3 parts, and again it pulls apart into these 3 discs and then kind of zaps back together. And so I'm getting that maybe the way that you dealt with, and maybe this is more in a cognitive way when you were able to kind of process what had transpired, that what happened was that you, in order to internalize or understand or make right with whatever had happened, that you had to maybe segment off this these knowings or these feelings, possibly into a physical, emotional, and mental component, because I get that the three things had almost like you had to identify with things in a different way to make it right in your own mind. So from here, I see at the very end of the street is the wooden portal, and this is my vision to see what moves on to the next component of the reading. And so I see you then walking towards this wooden door frame, which is the portal, and as you move through, your body again gets pulled into these three parts, and I see one component go down into the root chakra, I see one move into the heart, and one move into the head, and so the third eye and the heart and the root chakra. And so I'm seeing these components, and it's almost like they're pulling and really trying to connect. I can almost see the lines of those magnets kind of energetically trying to pull these pieces together, but I feel like it's unwhole, and I feel like this pillar inside of you, this energetic pillar, this channel inside of you, it's almost like it's broken, and it's almost like it's been very much so compartmentalized in order to grow and understand in a way that was easy for you to do at that maybe time when you were dealing with whatever this burden, this energy was that was surrounding you in this house growing up, or in this, family situation growing up. And so I'm getting that things run through you in a very kind of segmented way. And so what I would pull from what's not there is you don't have the solar plexus chakra, the sacral chakra, or the throat chakra. So immediately the words I get are the inability to express some, like, from your understanding, or from that part that's the truest part of you, something about relationships. And so so whether it's the close relationships, I don't know, I get that there's this inability for you to express maybe that authentic part of you to maybe relationships or about relationships. I'm not sure, but those are the words. So it's relationships, it's your authentic self, and it's expression. And so those are the components that are missing, and maybe those are the components that were maybe the hardest to deal with at that time when this burden kind of settled on you. And maybe those are the things that were taken away, were the forms of expression, your individuality, or because you were holding the burden of somebody else, so you took that on instead of understanding your own unique self and an authentic self, and then having to do with the relationships, or that those one-on-one relationships. So from here, then basically I see this, like, the energy all pulls down and turns into this bowling ball that, like, basically goes and strikes down, gets a strike on some bowling pins. And so I'm hoping that means that was interpreted correctly, like you got a strike. So I'm hoping just that validates what I had seen in the chakras there. And so then from here, I see you move towards what looks like it's your Akashic records, but it looks like a courthouse. And so you walk up through these big steps to the courthouse, and you walk in, and they call you as, oh God, what did they say? Plaintiff number one or something. And so you walk up to this podium, and you stand there, and you're like almost sobbing. You're like, I can't say it. I can't talk about them. Like, this is my family. I can't. And it's almost like you're being called to testify against something that happened, and it's almost like that you're saying, no, I can't do this. This is against, it's almost like what is it when you're married to somebody, and you don't have to, I don't know what you can plea there to not have to, like, testify against them, and so I almost get that that's like the energy of the situation. It's like, I can't do it. And so again, I'm getting this full inability to express that whatever that truth was. And so solar plexus chakra a lot of times has to deal with our truth, our authentic truth, our authenticity. And so I almost get that there's this, like, it's again this, like, not double standard, this duality that resides within you. It's almost like you want nothing more than to express your truth, but it's like you can't express that truth, or whatever that was. It was so hard for you to maybe put into words, or express, or speak that truth to people. And so it created this disconnect. And so from here, as soon as we get this, and I it's just basically validating kind of what was seen before, I think. I call down your higher self, and as your higher self gets called down, the whole Akashic records change into this like Grecian garden, like there's fountains and it's just beautiful, like there's birds chirping, and your higher self comes down looking like this angel, and you and your higher self embrace, and like you're crying, and your higher self is basically saying like, we've been waiting for you for so long. And I get this feeling, this connection back to that like Casper, that apparition that was back with you when you were a kid doing the trick-or-treating. I get this really long, deep connection with this guide that's come down for you, this angel that's come down for you. And so I'm watching you too, and it's just this long, lengthy embrace, and it's almost like this remembrance, it's like this connection. And there's basically, I say, so what's for the highest good for this person to know at this moment in time? And they say, they're basically calling you to rebuild and to connect the pieces of you. It's like they're asking you to basically open up that channel again. It's almost like there has to be this admission of the truth of you. Like, what have you been denying that is that authentic component of you that needs to be expressed, possibly within maybe the old relationships or new relationships. I'm not sure. Maybe this is playing out in new relationships, or it could be just the relationship component could be from the relationship between you and your family, or whatever that guardian energy was. But I feel like there's this charge, or this call to action for you, that they're asking you, like, you need to connect. It's like everything I'm seeing are these three parts of you that keep breaking down and trying desperately to pull back together and create that alignment. And it's like they're asking, like, you have to open up this area, you have to let go of whatever it is you're holding on to here that's blocking these three areas from connecting. I get that there's this need to connect the energy here to release the blocks in the throat chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and the sacral chakra. And it's almost like they want this energy, this alignment within you to open up, so that that harmony, I think, can come back in. And it's almost, I get that this guide is almost like waiting for this to happen. I see this desperate need that this guide like is waiting for you to reconnect, almost as if like there's going to be a connection again, or that feeling of having that divine guidance, or that divine kind of watchful person in your life, when you can open up that channel and begin to feel that divinity back in the life. So hopefully I interpret. Woo, you scared me. No.